Welcome to episode 7 of the BBL Summer Road Trip. I am Jay Marriott. He is Drew Lasker. Where do we find you right now, buddy? It looks like a different backdrop.
Yeah, I had to change up the vibe today. This morning, actually recording from Texas. I'm at the Perfect Latte, a nice, beautiful coffee shop here in Richmond, Texas. Ironically, next door to Regal Cinema, where we will be hosting our foundation lunch on Friday. So, I'm just trying to get in the spirit this morning.
So what you're telling me is you actually have time to have a coffee with all this madness that's going on right now.
I mean, I have to start my day that way. I mean, I tell my wife I start work at 8, but I don't start till 8:30 because I need to go somewhere and just clear my head with no noise and just enjoy a perfect latte. No pun intended.
There you go. Well, hopefully they're chucking you a couple of dollars, mate. I almost said a few quid. I've got a nice little backdrop today. I wish I could show you guys, but I'll end up mucking up but I'm overseeing the football pitch right now.
I was about to say, are you outside? I get the feel that you're outdoors.
No, literally like one of the meeting rooms like oversees the football club. So I come up here. I'm the same as you. Sometimes I need it to be quiet. Sometimes I need it to be busy. So I've found myself a little space. So here we go. So this episode, we are headed to Plymouth to catch up with former Plymouth Raiders point guard Elvisi Dusha, as he shares his feelings on the situation. There'll be a smooth look back. But first, it's your social media spy. It's the Marriott Minute. Okay, so intrigued me. Sadly, I never thought I would be saying this, but Plymouth Raiders have withdrawn from the 2021-22 BBL season, citing that they were having venue issues. Engage me. I have got a lot of sign-ins to get through here, Drew Lasker, starting with London Lions. They have 2 signings on board. Jamal Washburn, former Memphis Grizzlies, is signing as a wing player, and another wing player in Isaiah Reese, the 6'5" wing, coming with G League experience. So they're starting to build up for that European run. Leicester Riders have signed Patrick Wheeling, brother of Giants player Jordan Whelan. The Cheshire Phoenix have signed former Leicester Riders Namon Wright. I thought that was a pretty good sign-in, nice scorer. And then Bristol Flyers have signed Trajan Jacob, and also announced the departures of Wilshire, Mockford, Lockett, and Baker. And then lastly, amused me, the same day as the Raiders announced that they will be leaving the league because of venue issues, Plymouth Pavilions, the exact venue they are having issues with, put out a tweet asking who people are most looking forward to seeing when they can open the doors again. And I'll leave you guys to check out the comments for some rather amusing backlash in that one. Bit of a faux pas, whoever the media guy was that particular day, when maybe they should have been putting their hard hats on. But that's it for this week's Marriott Minute. I'm always watching.
Wow. You talk about a punch to the gut, the Plymouth Pavilions. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy. All of this has happened. I keep saying this every week. It's amazing how much happens in a week. I mean, you look at these roster signings. I just saw a tweet from BBL Fix yesterday that the departure of pretty much the whole Bristol Flyers team. So it looks like the Bristol Flyers are trying to start fresh, start anew, which I think will probably be a good thing for them. Cheshire Phoenix, my question is, where's the bag? Well, like, where did they get all of this money from?
What's changed? Yeah, what's changed?
I mean, geez, let us in on some. We're looking for sponsorship.
Yeah,
whoever's running the Phoenix, and then the London Lions. It looks like they're digging even deeper into their pockets going into this upcoming season. Yeah. So,
would you say with those 2 signings, then do you think that just that cans it for Liggins not coming back? I mean, that's 2 wing players right there. Where do you fit him into that mix if you're?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, when I actually didn't think about that side of it. I actually thought that's the end of Ware. Absolutely, but I wouldn't be so sure on Liggins, because maybe they bring him back as point forward. But he did put out a tweet or Instagram post that I thought was kind of controversial regarding the culture there at London. Surprised you didn't catch that in your Marriott Minute. But is that the end of Dirk Williams?
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even think about that either. Yeah. I
Really
mean,
interesting.
it is interesting how that lines is going to play out, because you can pretty much, see what Leicester are trying to do. That's coming together. You can see what Cheshire are trying to do. Bristol are starting again. No problems. Obviously, Newcastle, we know we always hear late, so I don't get overhyped about Newcastle, because I know they'll come late with their signings. And London, yeah, I don't know what they're trying to do. Will they bring back all their British contingent? Are we gonna see the planes flying around the UK again with 40 deep worth of players that should be playing somewhere? I don't know. So we'll see. It's fun. It's exciting time of the season, right?
It is. I mean, one area for sure that I think they need to address, though, is going to be the point guard position, because obviously we know that Justin Robinson suffered that ankle injury in the semifinals against the Raiders. And then you lose Jules, so you lose a solid backup. We know Andre Lockhart was in and out. So, where do they go with that point guard position? It looks unlikely that you're going to go an American. It looks like they're going to have to sign a big with the remaining U.S. spot. So be really interesting to see what Vince does with those last two spots.
You can have four, right? Can't you have
four?
Yeah,
you can
Americans?
have four.
Yeah,
you can have four.
So let's assume that Liggins is coming back. You're right, then just a big. But if he's not coming back, then you could plausibly go PG and 5, right? You could do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how Justin would feel about that,
Yeah, that's my point. I mean, he's supposed to be the prodigal son. And I think for him, it might be a hit to the pride if they bring in an American point guard. But at the same time, he's getting older. He's coming off an injury. They're definitely going to be playing in Europe next year. I don't think there's any question about that.
No.
So they got to make sure that they're ready to compete.
We haven't thrown around the fact that there is a lot of talent now in that pool from the Worcester and the Plymouth situation as well. So you've got Hamilton, you've got Andrew Lawrence. There's a Will Neighbor. There's an Elvisi Dusha, obviously, who we're going to be talking to in a minute. You've got Jordan Williams. I mean, where's Jordan going? I mean, those are some good picks. Josh McSwaggin.
Yeah, that's very true. But at the same time, they have to have their eyes focused on Europe, in my opinion, going into this next season. The roster has to be built for Europe, because we know that, hopefully that, the COVID situation is in the rearview mirror. And I think it's very unlikely, right, that they're going to run into a situation that they did last year where, they were disqualified a week before the competition. So
you wouldn't add Lawrence, Hamilton, and Jordan Williams?
Well, no, I'm not saying that.
For your European run?
not saying that. I was
sorry, guys. Drew just said, not good enough for Europe.
AGP, you my guy. But I mean, even with Lawrence, though, Lawrence has been out for 2 years, so that's a question mark from a health standpoint. So I just think, I don't know. I'm glad I'm not in that situation. You're a GM, so these are the the questions and conversations you got to have in the boardroom, and they're not easy. So, we'll be watching the London Lions and see what they do with that situation there.
Interesting stuff, man.
But moving on, we shift into the Alaska Look Back. In this episode of the Alaska Look Back, we head home to the beautiful city of Plymouth. September 13, 2005, I landed in the UK for the second time, but this time was for an opportunity to realize my dream of becoming a professional basketball player. After being collected by the great Gary Stronach, along with my teammate Lauren Ramos, we took the short drive from Heathrow Airport to Plymouth. Totally oblivious of the landscape of the country at the time, after an hour in a car, I finally asked, "Are we there yet?" After another 2.5 hours, we finally arrived to a place where later I would win a trophy, become the all-time leading scorer, and meet my wife. I call it home. Since then, many other players in the league has called it home for a short period with the club. Even building stability again, building a great British core this past season. A lot of those guys thought that they would call it home for the foreseeable future. Well, they thought. As league news broke last week that the Plymouth Raiders have left the British Basketball League, leaving many in the basketball community scratching their heads. Sixth Man of the Year candidate Elvisi Dusha joins us today after the dust settles to hopefully provide us with more answers than questions. And that is your Alaska Look Back.
And great look back as always. I'll try not to take offense that you didn't meet your mate down in Plymouth as well. You know, you left me out, but I'm good. I'm all right.
I'd rather have you upset than my wife. So
I'll bounce back. But let's get him in the room. You know, this is a conversation that I cannot say that I'm looking forward to having, and not because he's not going to be such a great guest. I know Elvisi very, very well. And he's coming off the back of two of these situations now that we will have a conversation about. So let's get him in the room and let's talk about, sadly, the Plymouth Raiders no longer being in the BBL. Elvisi, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having me, both of you. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Hey, by the way, you're the most active guy on Twitter in the British Basketball League. So don't come here on the BBL show and be tight-lipped today. We need all the tea spilled this afternoon.
I got you.
He's an open book, man.
Yeah, I'll give you as much as I know. That's all I can do. I can't unless you want me to start making stuff up.
Chapter and verse. Yeah, we'll take some made-up stuff as well. We don't
I got
mind.
you.
But
I got you. I'll stir it up a bit.
So you're in Plymouth right now. Where do we find you?
Yes, well, I'm actually where we practice, so at Marjon University. I'm literally just finished doing a bit of rehab with Elliot, and now I'm just here. So I'm just making the most of the stuff around me.
Yeah. So how long are you staying in Plymouth for? Like, so what is the situation that they've explained to you, and how long are you kind of kicking around for?
Well, I'm going to be around for, I mean, as long as I can, but at the same time, without overstaying my welcome. I know everything that's going on. I don't want to, be around if things are not going well for the club. I mean, they're not, but you know what I mean. I don't want to overstay my welcome. But the club's really helping me out with my knee. I'm not sure if you guys heard, I had a surgery about 3 weeks ago on my right knee.
Okay.
Super small surgery. The club helped me out. They paid for everything. They financed everything, and they're putting me up somewhere here as well. You're right. They're putting me up somewhere here as well, and kind of looking after me while I'm down here as well. So I'm ever so grateful. But I think I'll be here for about another month of just kind of rehabbing and then getting some court work, and then hopefully fully ready.
Yeah.
Was the plan always for you to stay in Plymouth the whole summer before even this news broke?
Yeah, like truthfully, yes. Like I said at the end of the season, me and I kind of gave them you guys are my first option, like thank you for having me. At the same time, thank you for am I speaking too loud? Because I've got both headphones in and I don't want to annoy them a lot. Are you sure? Sorry, I can't hear myself, so I feel like I'm over speaking someone like little meeting over there. But yeah, like for me, it would have been a no-brainer. Of course, the situation would have had to be good with little changes within the contract, but I definitely would have returned to Plymouth. The plan was to kind of stay out here this summer. I left most of my stuff down here as well, without having to, take it back home and bring it back with that hope. But I guess that's not happening anymore, So
yeah. So kind of just talk us through in kind of steps. Like when did you find out the news versus when the world knew the news? What was kind of the plan? Because obviously it looks like they haven't just kind of put the boards up, said we're closed for business and everybody's out, right? So they're obviously doing things the right way. So talk us through the situation.
And before you do, let's set the table for the listeners. This rumor started maybe a month and a half ago, I believe. Jay, you mentioned on the Marriott Minute about Plymouth possibly moving to Birmingham, and I remember coming on here and saying it was just smokescreen. It was a bartering situation, and now we're here. So kind of take us through that timeline.
Well, going back to what you said, Drew, about when it was it came out during the year about the whole pavilions and the kind of the relaunch, rebrand elsewhere and stuff. To me personally, like, I'll be very honest with both of you, I think that was just a little power trip, like a little, we're threatening to a public statement to kind of go out to everyone to kind of shake people up a little bit. And I didn't think it was true. I thought it was just more of a, like, we all thought it was just talk. A lot of stuff is always said in this league. A lot of statements are always made and nothing's really followed through, in my own opinion. But it felt completely like fabricated, if I'm being honest with you. But then fast forward to about a week ago, the day before I found out, to my acknowledgement, I was kind of reassured that everything was okay. So something would probably have to have happened within, on a Tuesday afternoon to a Wednesday morning to absolutely collapse everything, and unfortunately I don't know the answers to exactly what was said within that time frame or what's gone on. I just know that a lot of people, especially way above me, above anyone on the team, just I guess had some conversations that didn't go the way they wanted, and in my personal opinion, I think a lot of it's to do with being in control, being in power. I think a lot of that happened. A lot of heads started clashing, and then unfortunately the fans, the city, us players, the staff, everyone has to kind of suffer for it. Well, I wouldn't say suffer, but has to kind of go through the repercussions of their actions. You know what I'm saying? So unfortunately, it was just it was weird. It was a super sad day, to be honest with you. Like, I got a message. I didn't even get a message, to be honest with you. I kind of had a brief understanding that morning that I said, and then kind of woke up to a post about it's done, and then we all come into and it felt surreal. Like, I felt a bit, and it was worded very different, like compared to the Worcester situation where they just kind of confirmed we're out, we're done, see you later, signed, deal, whatever. Yeah. With us, it felt like, we're done for half a season, or for a season, we're out for a season, back the year after. It was a lot of mixed messages and a lot of mixed emotions as well, because I wasn't sure. Like, to me as a player, I thought I was going to be here next year, so I thought I've kind of got myself the job ready. I thought I'm sorted. I'm going to have another job for another 9 to 12 months. So I didn't believe it at first. I just thought, oh, whatever. Like, just hype, typical BBL stuff. People just probably guilt trip and power trip, and how these money people are. But yeah, I don't know. It just felt a bit sad. Everyone, the office. It was a sad day. I'll be very honest with you. It was a sad day. The club's been running for 25 years. I mean, you guys know this club way much better than me. Like, you both played for it, and a big part of this club. So yeah, I mean, you know what kind of a shame it was to it.
It's not an easy conversation, I think, for any of us. Do you know what I mean? Because one, we were similar to you. We just weren't believing that was going to happen, and like you said, how I feel is I just feel for the fan base. You got the fan base, you got the volunteers, you got you guys, like you said, you've got
staff. 25 years, mate.
And it's just the history that goes back. Like, the history that goes back could be beyond the BBL. It goes past the BBL. The history goes way back. But how has kind of Coach James handled this situation? Is he kind of did he outwardly get his arms around you guys very, very quickly? Has he been relatively withdrawn? Because, I would probably imagine, and this is pure guesswork, but I would imagine he was probably as much in the dark and felt like a lot of this was going to blow over like the rest of you,
Yes, I think I'll be very honest with you. One person I'm hurting for the most is Paul James, if I'm being totally honest with you. One, because he's one of few people in sports in the UK to have achieved the milestones he's achieved. He's been 41 years or 40 years in sports, in basketball. That's not a joke. He's got 1,000 career games, which I think only Sir Alex Ferguson and a handful of other guys can be put in that bracket. Of course, I'm not putting him with Sir Alex Ferguson, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he's had such a career. To think that it could possibly come to an end because of a club having to fold, and not even I know we're not anywhere compared to BBL, but not even a a celebration game, or not even like a retirement. Not that he's retiring, but not even like a retiring ceremony. Not even like an appreciation. And not so much from the club. I mean, the club, you can't. The club's not a club anymore, so it's hard. I mean, they still could, but it's like, I think it's just such a shame to see someone's career who's been so successful and so open and so real about himself to kind of just, like, he doesn't deserve that. You get what I'm saying? And that's just him, let alone all the other guys that have been involved with the club since they was, fans of the club, since they used to watch, Drew be playing in this league for this team probably. So it's like, it's super sad to see. And it was really, and to be honest, I think it also came at the wrong time for PJ. I don't want to speak because obviously it's his business. I shouldn't ever speak, but I feel like he's got a lot going on at the same time as well. You know what I mean? He's got his family here. He kind of moved his life down here as well. And to essentially lose your job, like as a player, like losing your job's tough. It is, but we're very fortunate in the sense of there is dozens of teams. Like we will figure a way out eventually. With a coach, especially in this league, it's very difficult to be replaced in this league. And personally, I don't think PJ's at the age or the point in his life where he's interested in going abroad or interested in even doing this any longer than a few more years, So
I mean, there's nine jobs, right? So there's 9 jobs out of there. And you try and look around the league and you think to yourself, where does PJ fit? I mean, that there's not an answer. There's not an obvious answer there, is there?
And then you add Matt Newby to the conversation as well. You got 2 more than qualified coaches that can coach in the BBL who are on the outside looking in. And for me, it's 2 layers to this. The first one is, talk from the fans' perspective, from all the former players that come before Jay and I who worked so hard to build this organization up from the 80s. To the point to where they were promoted in the British Basketball League in 2004, and all those sweat and tears that went into building a brand, and now that's lost. And then the other part of it is, the players such as yourself, the coach such as PJ, the perspective on that side is you're without a job. You know what I mean? Guys have families. You talk to PJ, he had family, kids.
Exactly.
And now what? So, it's already a tough business to be in, and it's that much tougher from someone like yourself because now with Brexit, there's more British talent staying here, and which makes it even tougher anyway for competition for jobs. And then you talk about less teams. So, and the upsetting part of it is last year I felt like, and we talked about it so many times on the show, the momentum that the league was building with the Sky deal, the 2-year deal, all the
we
coverage,
literally just had that conversation.
And now you got 2 teams who's dropped out of the league in a span of a month. I mean, it's just awful.
Yeah,
but it's two teams, but it's 2 teams that have been established for a while. It's not like a Royals, London City Royals situation where we just come in and we didn't get it right, so we paid the price. I guess, but this is a 25-year club, I believe, and Worcester was like a 15-year club. So it's the grassroots was there, the chances, opportunities was there. So it's actually sad to see. And like you said,
nobody could have guessed that either. Nobody would have guessed. If you'd have said at the end of the season, who are the clubs that are kind of in trouble? Like the only team that come to mind would be Glasgow because they had such a tough pandemic. Like, not that I feel like they're unstable in any way, but just the way.
No, I get what you mean.
They got absolutely smacked during the pandemic, and you could see that. So Worcester, completely out the blue. Plymouth,
but they've still managed to stay on their feet though. This is like I know you say they struggled and stuff, but to me, they had a more successful year than us. If I'm being honest with you, like not in the sense of accolades of
stayed alive
wins. Do you get what I'm saying? Like they've found a way to make a non-profitable organization work. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. I could sit here and absolutely grill every inch of league of teams and stuff, but it's I don't know.
Well, let's kind of touch back on this Royal situation. So like yourself and Ashley and Andrew and stuff like that. Like you guys have kind of gone through this before, right? With the with the Royal situation. So were you How did you feel at this news? Did it hit you just as hard as that Royal situation, or have you, in having that experience, you've been able to be a little bit more relaxed? So yes, of course, you're devastated for the fans.
Yeah.
You're hurting for your coach. I think you will get a job some way or somewhere. Like you've had a good year. You're going to get picked up. But is perspective of that experience enabled you to handle this one a little bit better?
Yes and no. Yes, because at the end of the day, none of the clubs are standing. So, I'm still here, but no, as in they're very different. Royals was mid-season, hadn't been paid for a couple months, wasn't being paid, like was practically going into money from, like as a player, you learn to save your money, you learn to put it to the side, you learn to just be sensible, you know what I mean? And with Royals, it was the last 3 months was like, it was like real life stress, if you get what I mean. Like you start eating it up into your own saved money. You start having to, I had to get my own car because the car given in our contracts, suddenly it took a while to get delivered. So like, it just loads of million things. And it was mid-season, whereas here it was, I completed my contract. I've been paid all my money, and essentially, like, a lot of messages I was getting was like, oh, well, it's not your problem anymore. Like, you've been paid, so you're fine. And I wasn't seeing it as in, okay, well, I've got what I want from the club. I was seeing it as in, like, I'll probably lose a job, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I'm probably not going to have anywhere to play because like you said, I hopefully will get picked up, if it goes well and teams look for someone like me. But at the same time, I've also played at different clubs as well. So it's a gift and a curse. It's a gift in the sense of, you bring something to the table, and I've been to 5 finals in 4 seasons, and I have that kind of experience backing me in that sense. But also, it's like, well, he's played here and he's played there, and it has its pros and cons. So as a player, like I worry more about, how getting a job back, even if it means signing at the same team, instead of thinking about what's happened to this club. I mean, with Royals was more of a hit home. Like, Royals really hit because I realized I'm not going to get any other money I'm owed, and I realized I'm going to have to continue going into my savings. I realized I went and got a normal job for about a few months just so I can kind of stay on my feet. You know what I mean? And it sucks, but at the end of the day, it's life. Like, not even as athletes, people go through certain stuff like in life and stuff like this. So you kind of just have to be understanding. But at the same time, when it's you, it sucks. There's no, like, it just sucks.
Yeah, and
you
it's
can't
ironic.
control it.
Yeah, it's ironic because after we won the finals against London, and this is a common thing we do at Newcastle, we go around and, everyone has some words. And my words were to the team was, specifically to the young players, was, don't trust this business.
Big time.
And the lesson is more so than ever. And Jay's talked about it numerous times on this show, of how guys are starting to, while they're playing, think about the next chapter, building their brand, doing other things outside of basketball. And that's a lesson that more guys need to start doing, that, just because we see how unstable this business is. We see how unstable sports is. And you're left out in the cold with nothing. So a lesson to all the new young guys, as you're starting your careers, simultaneously start building your brand. You know what I mean? Start always because I played 16 years, but I played 16 years on all 1-year deals. So from 2005, I always thought that my career was coming to an end. Luckily it didn't, but I was always conscious of, okay, if something happens, then what's next?
What's
next?
What I mean? Yeah, exactly. No, I get you. It's a scary industry. That's what I say. It's a cutthroat business with you really do not know the outcome. Anything can happen. Like, literally anything can happen. Like, you've seen guys no longer play anymore because of certain situations they've gone through in life, and it makes you think, well, wow, if someone as good as you can go through this, what's it not to happen to me for? So
I think
it's a shady business too, if I'm being totally honest with you. Like, from experiences, I mean, I'm sure you both are amazing guys, so your experiences must have probably been different to mine. But from experience, I've always found that, especially in this country, it's a lot of shade being thrown. It's a lot of we'll throw you will give you empty promises, and it's like, and it's a shame, you know, because someone such as myself, like I'm not naive, but I'm sort of the, like, if I'm teammates with the both of you two, we're teammates, that we'll make it happen, we'll figure it out. Like, I'm so bought into what we're going to have going on, where you kind of forget about all the shadiness and all the stuff that's going on because you're so locked in elsewhere, you know. And then I think, like, in sports in this country is where I feel we don't do a good job of looking after each other. You know what I'm saying? And that can mean loads of things. That opens the floor for tons of things. But
yeah,
I've just always felt, you know, that the happier the players, the better the chemistry, the much happier the organization. You know, everything's on a kind of little string. And
yeah, there's no doubts. I think there's no doubts that there's like two sides to the coin, and I think that's why, like, if you look at it, I think the league will be hurting as well, because I think they thought they
but 8 teams qualify, don't they?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know how that's going to work.
They're going to have to relook at that for sure.
It's the one team that's going to be at the bottom is going to. You do not want to be that one team at the bottom.
Yeah, it's a rejigging situation, but also as well, I can see on the other side of the coin as this you know, don't rush in. Fools rush into the situation. So there's, you know, there's no hiding away from the fact that we're going through the process and we're trying to get a franchise. You know, we're lucky we're in the conversation for WBBL. And now we're going through that conversation, but they're doing the right things, you know. So the conversations that maybe that we're outwardly having, that they are taking those things into account. So, you know, that's all they can do. And you probably, you know, they were probably sitting there just like us, you know. Worcester are fine, Plymouth are fine. These are two franchises we can build on. They've hosted, you know, Worcester hosted a lot of the madness that was going on in the playoffs, and so it is really, really difficult. But like you said, you know, we interviewed Ryan Richards, you know, and that was a great interview for me, because Ryan was on that complete other side of the coin, where he was like, look, I got to look after myself. And like, yeah, maybe he didn't want to let Surrey down, but he wasn't going to think twice, because at the end of the day, if he wasn't performing or he wasn't doing what he needed to do, it would go both ways. So you're right. We do need to look at looking after our players, and let's give the plaudits. There are teams out there that do that. They are looking after their players, and, you know, Leicester do a good job, Newcastle do a good job, and that's why they're at the top of the tree. 9 times out of 10 that they've got a shot. They've got a shot at least 1 or 2 trophies, because they get the culture right.
They've just been doing it right for years.
Yeah, and we just need more teams that are gonna do that. Just kind of, I guess, summarizing this situation with Plymouth. One of the things that I'm really interested in is it they've obviously clearly thrown in that they're out for a year, you know, but the league haven't confirmed that that's fine, and they haven't confirmed that it is genuinely a year. Like, are you getting a lot of mixed messages locally? Because we hear a lot of things. I'm from Plymouth. We hear a lot of things about, you know, is it going to be the same investors? Are they going to try and reinvent themselves? Is it just clearly a year out to figure out things with the council? Like, what's true in your mind?
Well, I mean, in terms of, from what I know, the investors they've not departed. There's the Turks, to my acknowledgement, are still 60% shareholders of Plymouth Raiders, Ltd, or whatever kind of company it is. So part of me still has that kind of clinch of they are trying to figure it out. To my knowledge, like, if you're a business person, you wouldn't hold on to something unless you're doing something with it, you know. So unless you're going to do something with it, which is what a lot of us were holding on to. Another thing where you said where the BBL kind of haven't announced, you know, to like the BBL kind of validates that for a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? Like, if the league announces it, then it's solidified, it's a wrap, you know. And not having heard from the league, I've kind of asked that question numerous amount of times as well. Is there still hope? What's the chances? What's the likelihood of it happening? Because it'll be easier. But truthfully, I've got no idea. I know there was a big debate between the pavilions and the prices with the club, and different terms, because we have different because the club has a business investor, it wants to become Pavilions wants to treat the club like a business now instead of having that kind of friendship they had, back in the day and whatnot. So I'm really not sure, to be honest with you. Like I ask a lot of questions. I always find if you don't ask, you don't get, or it's just good to ask. And I asked numerous amount of times, like, so what do we have to do? Do we just have to pay the difference for the Pavilions to stay in Pavilions? Like to a point where we was all kind of looking around, like if that's the only problem we've got, like let's all kind of chipping money together just to make it work. Because it'll be a shame to, lose the core we got, lose the group of guys we got for money, essentially, But then it turns out it's more than just money. Is the owner's side of stuff, like their sort of discussions and probabilities and whatever owners talk about, I guess.
Yeah.
So there's just loads of different angles, but it just, I think it is, like, my honest opinion about the whole situation. I think it sucks that a 25-year franchise has to suffer, and the city, like you've both been here before, and I've learned to love the city this year. Like the city's going to suffer the most. Plymouth's a big Raider city, and to see this happen to Plymouth is like it's, yeah. To be fair, to see it happen to anyone is sad, but
I think it's important for if the goal is to stay in Plymouth, worst case scenario, a couple of guys like yourself, if you don't get any other jobs in the UK, I would try to hold on to a couple of guys, pay them a salary, and make sure they continue with the community work, because what you don't want to happen is it's just ghost for a year. You lose that finger on the community, and you know how it is in sports. I mean, out of sight, out of mind. You lose trust in the brand and the community, and what's taken 25 years to build. If they come back the following year, it'll take another 25 years to try to get back to where they were. So even if they're just going to take a break for a year, I think it's still important they keep all those other community projects and everything outside of the BBL still afloat.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. I think especially the community is massive out here, like the schools and the coaching and the work they do, with the community it will be the biggest loss. I can see that already happening, whereas in a city like London, it wouldn't be as big of a hit because it's London, here it really hurts. But I'll be honest with you guys. I think there's too many people in charge, like without being like, I know I shouldn't probably say certain stuff, but I don't really mind. But it's just like, I personally feel like there's a lot of voices, and sometimes that's not a good thing. You kind of need the headhunter, and then you kind of the little people behind him sort of thing. So I don't know, like I feel like solutions are spoken upon and brought up and raised to maybe make an effect, and then someone else or something else will come in and undermine it or switch it up or cut someone's legs short. And which I could be completely wrong, but from experience from business, a lot of it comes from character to character. A lot of it comes with the person you're working. Like you get into a good business, if it's a good business, money making business or an enjoyable business, you're going to do it regardless. But a lot of the departures from business and then the stuff comes to relationships and the characters and the people you work with. So I don't know, mate. It's an awful feeling, but yeah.
I think tough. It's like I said, me and Drew, I still live there officially at the minute while we're trying to look at getting a place up here in Gloucester. It's my hometown. It always will be. We haven't even mentioned Foxy, like not to see Foxy again. I bet the best mascot over the last, 25, longer than 25 years. I think one good thing to see and something that gives me a lot of hope is that they're looking after you, and I think that if they were truly done and it was just over, they would just cut those situations and just have you guys go your separate ways. And the fact that they're not doing that, I mean, that speaks to their character. So that's a good thing, but it also speaks to the fact that it seems like they want to do something for you. Look, it doesn't give you much solstice because it means that, this season, late in the season, I guess, we just did the Marriott Minute and we're announcing sort of 5 or 6 signings already. So it's already catching pace, but look, we appreciate your candidness on these points. It's tough for everybody. I think we'd like it known on the show that, yeah, we're really hurting for the fans. We're right there with them. We're hurting for Coach as well. So if you get a chance to speak to Coach, please say that myself and Drew are asking after him, and we'll catch up when it's appropriate. But hey, man, look, good luck. Keep us in the loop. I mean, we're gonna know when you're signed because, like Drew said, you are the social media master. You'll let everybody know. But get healthy, get healthy, and come on and get on the show again soon. Yeah,
I will do. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you for putting up with me and everything. So you know how it is.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And just for coaches and clubs out there, you mentioned earlier you had a small keyhole procedure, but confident that you'll be 100% ready to go for the 2021-2022 season. And we've said it on here before this year, you held down the fort at the beginning of the season for Plymouth before Ricky McGill arrived. And it's very clear that if we had a 6th Man of the Year award, you'd be at the top of the list for that. So you're a huge part to Plymouth's success this season, and any team looking for a serviceable, great backup guard, they should be calling your phone.
No, I appreciate that big time.
The phone's ringing. That big time.
Right. I got it. It's ringing right now.
Hey, I need a piece of that agent fee, by the way, because that was me selling.
That was clean. I'm not gonna lie. My phone's already going off. Right. Just from
everybody knows. But listen, thanks for your time, brother. We'll speak to you soon. All right.
Thank you guys for having me, man. I appreciate you big time.
Yep.
Have a good one, man. We'll let you go.
Too.
See you, boy.
Peace.
Already great to hear from Elvisi. Like I said, sad news. Myself and Drew did not enjoy that one single bit. We feel for the fans, the volunteers, especially as well. There's some volunteers that have been there a very, very long time, and they deserve a lot more. And no Foxy, that makes me want to tear up a little bit. We'll have to find him a new home. And yeah, just overall, we're sad for the league. We know. Thank you, Rob Smith, who reached out to us and asked that question. Hopefully, in that interview, we kind of covered most of that. I think we talk about the credibility of the league and any implications that we think that it will have on the Sky Sports deal. Look, I think that the Sky went amazingly last year. They probably do have to answer some questions as to where the direction of the league, but I still think it's in safe hands. I still think it's going in the right direction. And I'm still praying that we see that out for one season situation, that we will see the Raiders again. And look, I would love to see the Wolves again. I've said it. Look, we're trying to enter into the league. We're trying to get into the league. We need these teams that are effectively derbies and competitions, and that is going to raise the effort of the league. So for me, that's all I've got to say. Hurting from that one. I'm hurting. I didn't want to visit Plymouth in that fashion. But guys, we really appreciate you just staying tuned in with us in the summer. It's ad lib. We're trying to find the time. Drew's stressed. I'm stressed. And we're trying to stay current with what's going on. So we hope you're still enjoying the content. But guys, let's in the meantime, we're going to pack our suitcases and let's see where we'll be next week. So Drew, lead us out.
Yeah, again, tough. A special thanks to Elvisi Dusha being so open about such a difficult topic where, obviously it's affecting his career. You mentioned Foxy. Shout out to Gary Stronach as well. I've been in contact with him the last couple of weeks as this situation unfolded, and it's affected him hugely, as a lot of you Plymouth fans can imagine. And we hope that this is only just temporary and they're able to get this situation sorted in the near future. But again, like we say, thank you everybody for coming on this journey with us this summer. I mean, we talk about this summer. The summer's wrapping up. We're moving closely to the 2021-22 season. So things are moving, guys. And this Friday, want to thank all the people in the UK who supported my event, the 21 Foundation launch this Friday. And we'll see you next week. And we have no idea where, you're good. We have no idea where we're going to go because news is breaking fast. So, we'll probably be deciding on a cuff like we did this episode, but Jay and I will be there no matter where the news breaks. So we'll see you guys same place, same time here on the show.
The show.